Welcome back to the Blue Chip Breakdown, Vols fans. I am your host, Bull, and we did actually intend to be doing this live with Charles House's commitment, but we did miss that, man. That is 100% my fault. I thought for some odd reason that it was going to be I thought at first it was going to be a 12, and then I saw on YouTube that On3 said that they were going to be posting it live at 2 p.m. So that's where the confusion kind of came in at. But we are still going to be talking about him as a commit to our volunteers. And you know what it's going to mean to this class, to this team moving forward. We're also going to be talking about World Series. Why not? We have to talk about all that. And then we'll talk a little bit like OV stuff, all that type of stuff. So please, as always, y'all, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to donate to the channel, please scan that Cash App barcode up in the top right-hand corner. That is the best way to donate to the channel. And you can also become a member by pressing that join button just below this video right here. But first thing that I want to know is, how do y'all feel right now? I mean, like, how are y'all feeling with all this? A whole lot of good things going on, I feel like, for our volunteers. And then there's some things with, guys like Jaden and Gibson taking some visits down there to UGA. People are like, well, are they going to go there, or are they going to be coming home to Knoxville? I think that we're in a really good spot. My thing at the end of the day, though, y'all, just to be completely honest with you, is I do not want to see them go on to UGA. And I don't think that that's where they're going to end up at, because UGA is not paying enough money. So we are going to go on ahead and pull up Charles House for y'all. Okay, we'll take a look at how his how his profile looks and all that good stuff. We won't really go into the real full breakdown, because I got to do that film breakdown. I do it for all the other players. So I'm going to make sure that I do it for Charles House as well. But 6'3", 300 pounds. He's a stud defensive tackle, exactly what we needed. We talked about this, maybe like towards the end of this season, that, man, we need to go out and get some more defensive tackle help, because right now, our roster looks really good, but moving forward, a whole lot of those veterans are going to be gone. So we needed this, right? We needed to add this player, and we added him over schools like Alabama and UGA. Talked about this like a day or two ago, that I feel like we're going to be winning a whole lot of recruiting battles versus UGA. Let's take a look at his visits, though. He visited Tennessee more than anyone else. I know that he did also visit UGA. For some reason, On3 doesn't always update this stuff with every single player, but he has been there. It's been to Alabama and South Carolina, looks like a couple of times, and Virginia Tech. But with him coming from North Carolina, this is a place that we already know as, Tennessee fans. If you've been a fan of this program for years, like back in the 90s, several really good players that we got from North Carolina. And I love the way that this staff is attacking North Carolina right now, man. Like, whenever we are a very prominent and dominant team, we run the state of North Carolina. So we're getting back to that. And obviously moving forward, there's guys like Faison Brandon that we feel like is trending towards our volunteers as well. So I just think personally, y'all, that there is a lot for us to be excited about. Now, he is listed as a 3-star with On3's industry rankings, and he is actually a 4-star with On3 on its own. Now, everyone else has him as a 3-star. He's a player that just fits into our scheme so well that I'll call him. I mean, I'm not going to tell you exactly what I'll call him just yet, but I think he's better than a 3-star, and we will be getting into that here, pretty soon. But let me go on ahead and take a look right here, and let's get to a few of these comments, because now, y'all, I'm back on StreamYard. I was using a different studio before, but until I can figure out how to see the full comment on there, whenever we go live, we'll just be on StreamYard, okay? So right here, we've got Django Apple says, hey, Blue Chip, go Big Orange. I love to hear it. I love to see it. And right here, we've got American Patriots saying, what's up, homie? What's going on, y'all? This is going to be I feel like a great weekend for our volunteers, just because I did kind of get a chance to talk to Justin Baker, who's up on his OV in Knoxville, and he said, man, things are going great, right? Like, I don't want to give away too much, but, at some point, maybe we can kind of go deeper into it. But I think that we are in a great spot right now with several players. And, I mean, obviously, him loving it, that's huge. I can just tell y'all from watching him personally, he's going to be a stud, right? We're hoping that we can get his teammate, Jaden Pilati, to come on up. But I also want to take a look right here at a couple of other things, right? Like, we need to look at how this class is looking totally with Charles House being added to it. So right here, y'all can see we are, let me scroll back up to this part right here for y'all. Okay, so we're still 13th nationally, all right? And then we moved backwards once we added Charles House to number 8 in the SEC. We was at number 7. This is something we've talked about before. If you look right here to the right, what you're seeing is that class score, that average is at an 89.78. You see that we're about, almost 2 points below what the average was from last season. Last season, it was a total of 91.52. And I believe that that is what the industry rankings. What we want to do is we want to get up to like a 91 before they add in everyone else with 21 commitments. Once we get up there, I feel like we should probably be able to get up into that top 5 type of a range. And I think that we're in a really good spot to do that. So any player that we get that's not over, whatever that 89.78 is going to kind of bring us down. But at the end of the day, y'all, at least for me, I'm not totally just looking at what these, sites are ranking us at, because we know that we can bring these guys in, we can coach them up, and once they kind of play into our system, then they're going to perform a lot better than whatever they're actually rated at. We've seen that with guys like James Pearson, with everybody else. I mean, we just know how to get the most out of all of our players. Now, right here, we're seeing Ethan Utley. He's another player, and him playing defensive tackle, being an in-state guy at about 6'3 and a half. I think he's listed at 275. He's another one. Okay. We need more defensive tackle help. And we'll just kind of scroll through here for everyone, just in case you want to take a look at what all we have. All right. So I believe at this point, we still have 5 4-stars. I don't know how many 3-stars we have. We'll count them out real quick. Let's see. From the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like we have 7 3-stars. We need to get up to a total of, I would say, probably about 10 4-stars and maybe 2 to 3 5-stars if we want to break up into that top 5. So that's how we're looking right now. But Charles House, man, I think that he adds a lot to this team. Again, just with the depth. I love his game. And I don't want to go too far into it, but I will tell y'all, I love his size to speed to like burst combination. That's beautiful. Being able to have that sort of size. And I mean, 300 right now, he's probably going to end up playing at about, 310, 315, maybe even more than that, 330 pounds. But he moves very well. He's very explosive off of the ball. That is what Coach Garner loves. And I mean, I just could not be happier to see us winning this battle versus some of our hated rivals. Let's take a look at some more of these chats right here. We got my dog T Malone says, House committed. That big boy battle. Yes, sir. UGA and Bama was going in hard. We got to start winning more of these battles next with Gibson. Yes, so we're actually going to talk about Gibson as well. And right here, we got a super chat. I appreciate that so much from American Patriot for $20. Thank you, sir. We're going to get to that super chat here in just a second. And he's saying that thanks for the content, calm, smooth demeanor, easy to listen to. Keep it up. I'd like to see you around for a while. Thank you so much. Definitely appreciate all the support that we've been getting from everybody. Let's go ahead and play it. All right, and so see, we can also play that inside of StreamYard, but we're gonna get all that stuff figured out, y'all. Don't even worry about it. Let's get to a few more of these, man, because this is really all this. But I want to hear what everyone has to say. I wouldn't even say maybe necessarily trying to pass the time until the game starts, but that's pretty much what I need to do because I am so excited about this baseball game. We'll get to that here in just a second. Now, TN Jr. says we're going to, bro, go big orange. Okay, I think that he's responding to Tristan. I agree, man. I feel really good about Gibson. I want to get to him in just a second. Richard Dockery says, go big orange. Baseball is going to take it to the house in 2. I agree completely. I have pretty much, no doubts with that game at all, with any of the games, with that whole series. I feel great about it. I love the way that this team is already performing. And it's really all about that confidence level. We're playing at such a high level of confidence. And that's how you can kind of tell. For those of y'all that have played sports, or even if it's not sports, whatever you do at a high level, you know that you do it with confidence. And you can see that with other people. And if you see that same type of confidence, I'm seeing that with this team. I feel great about it. Now, my dog Timmy G says it has been a great week to be a Tennessee Vol. Absolutely. And Timmy G, he will be on live with us here pretty soon. We're just trying to work all those details out. But I want for him to be able to join us live with P, maybe with Bray, maybe with Kaysen. I want it to be, kind of a full packed house. And that's something that we want to do a lot more of as well. But we're starting off with Timmy G because we told him, I want to say it was last week, maybe like a week before, that we were going to do something special for him. And we just couldn't find a opportunity to get in contact with him. Let's see what else we got right here. Okay, looks like that's it for now. So I do want to kind of transition here really quickly before we start to talk too much baseball stuff. let's talk some about guys like Isaiah Gibson, right? So we've talked about him over the past couple of videos. And I just feel like with him going down to UGA, it's just part of this process, right? Like you've got to see what does the NIL look like with UGA? Are they going to try to match this deal that Tennessee just threw out there or not? And it might not even just be UGA. He might end up visiting several other schools before it's all said and done as well. Because at the end of the day, you've got to try to get the most bang for your buck. We're going to start seeing a whole lot more of this. I think that players are starting to realize, hey, man, look, if we can get this money, while we're young, while we're still healthy, let's go ahead and get it. Football is a sport that is not promised by any means. You can, and God forbid, I'm not claiming this on anybody, but you could have that injury that, I mean, you're not going to end up being the same actor. So you got to kind of get what you can, while you can get it. And that's why I just feel like Tennessee is going to start to move up because we're not afraid to pay these players what they're worth or the coaches, whoever, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you are worth X amount, like whatever that market value is, we're going to try to pay you above that so that you can give your all for Tennessee. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other factors that goes into it, but that's a really big one, at least from our end. So I think that Isaiah Gibson probably is going to end up at Tennessee. I can tell y'all from working with a lot of players very closely for several years that Tennessee does spend more money in NIL than some of these other programs. Now, will that continue as we start to win? I think that it will because we kind of stay ahead of the curve, and we're not going to try to do what Nick Saban, what Kirby Smart, and all these other guys are trying to do. Where hey, we're not going to pay these players, and we're going to try to see if they'll take like a hometown discount, whatever. That type of stuff ain't going to work moving forward. So I feel really good about Isaiah Gibson. I feel really good about Jaden Pilati as well. I actually feel maybe even more confident, I would say, with Isaiah Gibson not going to UGA than I do with Jaden. And the only reason for that with Jaden is just because, they grew up UGA fans. So I could kind of see that swaying them at the end of the day. But like I said in my video earlier, I'm just going to tell y'all they are about business and they're going to make the best. I think, that's just what I get from it. I feel like they're going to make the best business decision for their family moving forward. And that would obviously be coming on home to Knoxville. Now let's get to a few more of these chats right here. All right, that's the one from Timmy G. You saw that one earlier. Blackout Jones says, y'all coming up for the NC State game this year? I would love to. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't been to North Carolina in years, but I would love to go for that one. I think that's going to be a really good matchup. The more that we're getting closer to the season and I'm watching more film on them, I really like their offensive scheme. And we know that last season we had some trouble versus that odd front, and they run that 3-3-5. Have we got that fixed yet? Have we got that corrected? That's what I need to find out. Before I feel overly confident, I still feel very confident that we're going to win, but I want to go in there and pretty much blow them out because I think that if you look at the roster from top to bottom, I mean, our front seven especially it's like night and day versus NC State. So I think that we are going to be fine in that one. But yeah, I would absolutely love to go to that game this season. Now, TN Jr. says wanted to roll to NC State game, working on logistics. Yeah, I mean, I would love to be able to see all y'all up there. Something that we've talked about doing is maybe having like a live tailgate at a game, and we can have everyone on. I mean, we would love to do that. It might be more feasible to do that in Tennessee, right, as opposed to doing it for a road game. But for us living here in Georgia, I mean, we could maybe do it in Athens. I still don't know, y'all. I'm actually going to go to that game down in Athens this year because, man, I really don't like Georgia fans, and it probably would not end well. All right, so American Patriot says, I'm 40 minutes from Charlotte. I will be there. Okay, so it sounds like we're going to have a good little crowd up there. Okay, and we got some more people talking about it. We'll go ahead and get to it. T. Jr. says that he's in Kingsport, and T. Malone says that he's debating on Florida or Bama, which one to go to this year. I would say, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a good question because they're both in Neyland. And then Thomas Mitchell says, I saw where Isaiah canceled his Oklahoma visit. Seems like some good news is coming. Hopefully. Yeah, so that's kind of what we was talking about earlier, Thomas, that he did actually cancel that visit, but he decided to go on to UGA. One of my questions that I was talking about earlier in the video that I did earlier was, how long is it going to be in Athens? I don't think it's going to be for that long. Probably go down there, see what they're talking about, and then leave. I think he's probably going to leave kind of pissed off just because, I mean, they're not going to pay these guys. Like, I've seen that too many times. Y'all would probably be surprised at how much of a difference it is from what UGA is paying compared to what Tennessee's paying. I'll just throw this like a random number out there just to kind of let you know what the ballpark is. We'll say, maybe like $180,000 is what UGA might be offering somebody. whereas Tennessee might be offering him somewhere close to like 400,000. It's that much of a difference. Like it's really not even close. So I think that we're going to be fine. Let's see what else we got right here. T Malone says, yep, okay, so he said the same thing that I just said. And Thomas Mitchell said, I wanted to play Missouri badly. I agree with that, man. I can't stand Mizzou. They kind of put me in the mind of like a UGA. It's not, I don't hate them as bad, but it's, you know, might be like right up under Alabama and Florida, but like they're very, very close. They're almost neck and neck. So I would love to actually go up there and see what that's like. I've never been out there to see, but that one sounds like it will be fun as well. So I do want to maybe shift gears here just a little bit. Actually, you know what? Before we get into the World Series talk, let's talk a little bit about something that P and I was going to talk about today, and we might kind of touch on it if we have a video out tomorrow. But I am starting to get a little bit concerned with the simple fact that I keep on hearing from some of the insiders that Will Brooks might be the starter for us at safety. And the reason for that, for me is we just got Kobe Thomas from the transfer portal. And I thought, I felt like he looked like he was a guy that could come in and could play. I don't know what's going on right there. Maybe he's not figuring out the playbook well or, whatever. But if you look at him on the field from, like an athletic perspective, I think that he looks a lot better than Will Brooks. And for those of y'all that are members that have seen some of those film breakdowns of the orange and white game, y'all would know what I'm talking about. There was a couple of plays that I actually specifically pointed out Will Brooks. I said he's not really changing directions as quickly as you would want a starter to do in the SEC. And that's not a shot at him by any means, but, we're going to keep it real on this channel. I think that that's a cause for concern. Outside of that, I think that we're pretty solid, at least from what I feel with our depth at that position. But I don't understand where that's really coming from. Do the coaches really feel that way, or is it more of the insiders that are talking about it? Maybe that's just their own personal preference. I'll also say this, that since we've had this staff up on campus, I have not loved our safety play by any means. I think that there's a whole lot of room for us to grow right there, and I was hoping that this will be the season that we kind of get over that hump. But you have to have really good safeties if you want to have a really good defense or a good team, period. I think that you could talk about that front four, and then after that, the safeties might be even more important than the linebackers because we're playing a whole lot of nickel. Those safeties are going to be coming up, filling those run lanes, and also they will be in pass coverage. So they're very important. I just think that, that is concerning for me, but y'all let me know y'all's thoughts right here in the chat. We'll get to those in just a second. But I do want to talk a little bit more about what we've got going on, man, with these matchups, because, I know that we have talked about it, a pretty good amount, but I don't know if we could talk about it enough until this game starts. So we are going to go ahead and transition right here. If I can get this thing up, let's see, where are we at? Give me a second here. Let me see if I can figure this thing out. Let me see. We got a couple different things going on right here. Let me see what's going on here. All right, so here we go. Got it for y'all right there. All right, so right here, okay, we talked about this in the video earlier today, and I really like what this site is showing us. But if you look here, right, I mean, this is the two teams that can most definitely bat. They don't hit as many home runs as we do, but just looking at this right here, man, I think that they've got a few guys that we're going to have to pitch to. And if we pitch it to them, our defense is going to have to help us out because they can hit. But this is a team that makes you throw the ball in the strike zone. And, I'm not a fan of them, but I like that. I like that in a baseball team. You need to do that. So let's come on down here. Okay, we're just kind of scrolling through all this stuff. We've kind of taken a look at some of these pitchers and things like that. We already know who's going to be we think we know who's going to be starting for us today. If y'all know for sure who's going to be starting, please let us know down in the chat. But you can see right here, I mean, the ERA difference with the starting pitchers, that's what stood out to me, is that we've got pitchers that have a much better ERA. And if you get off to a good start early on in these games, I think that the chances are in your favor to be able to win. So that's why that's at least one of the reasons I feel like Tennessee should have the edge in this game. I'm feeling really good about it so far. And we will also pull up the individual statistics, y'all, here. I want for y'all to see how that looks. If you haven't already seen, I know a lot of y'all probably have been here, y'all been here already, and y'all know how this stuff looks. But let's try to get this up right here. Okay, boom. So these are the stats. These are just the ones that I came up with. And I think that it definitely favors our volunteers. Now, there are a few that you could maybe look at and say, okay, Texas A&M is leading in some of these categories, but it's not going to be by much. And even where we're leading at, it's really not by much. But the batting averages, I mean, it looks like it's a huge difference. And I mean, really it is. From 311 to a 299, that is a pretty big difference. On base percentage, pretty much even. Slugging percentage in the home runs, that's where I feel like we've got a huge edge at. And I'm gonna tell y'all, with us getting more comfortable with this venue right now, I feel like we are going to hit more and more home runs. So we're averaging, you can see it right here, 2.57 per game. And I believe that these stats are going to be from NCAA.org as of June, maybe the 17th, and it might have been updated again since then. The home run numbers will go down just a taste on this bigger field, but I just feel like we're going to get back to maybe hitting 2.5, maybe 3 home runs. I've got us hitting 3 today because the last game we only hit 1. I think that we're going to stay very close to that average. I just have that feeling, y'all. I mean, I feel really good about this. I hope that y'all feel confident too. But I think that we can hit their pitchers. That's going to be one of my biggest questions. And it's really not even that much of a question. Now, onto the stolen bases. I've seen them, I actually watched some film with them, and I've seen them trying to steal bases. They will try to steal those bases. We might be able to throw some guys out. That could actually work in our favor. But it is something that you have to ask yourself, are the pitchers going to be too worried about these guys if it's a close game? Are they going to be too worried about these base runs and trying to hold them? Or do they focus more on pitching? For the most part, I feel like we do a really good job of focusing just on pitching and what's going on at the plate. But I have seen us a couple times, maybe not in the World Series, maybe that was in the Super Regionals. But at some point, right, in this whole tournament, there was a few times where we're worrying, I feel like, a little bit too much about the runners on base. And it might have been versus Evansville, the only game that we actually lost. So I could definitely see that posing some sort of a problem for us. But the ERAs, right? Look at how close that is. That's neck and neck. Number 6 and number 4, 3.9 for us, 3.86 for them. Fielding percentage, they are actually a little bit better than us in the field. But I mean, look at that. I mean, that's inches, right? That's inches. I think that the fielding for me is probably going to be the biggest question mark of them all. Can we come out today and can we play consistently in the field? Do we have a whole bunch of weird little errors and stuff? Hopefully we're dialed in. Again, hopefully we feel comfortable being on the field that we've played at however many times, 3 times now. This will be the 4th time today. If we come out and if we look clean in the field, y'all, I think I would not be surprised if we win this game by multiple scores. And I'm talking about 4 to 5 scores plus. I think that we can do that, y'all. I feel really good about this team. Now, let's get to some more of these chats. Let's see what all we got right here. I see y'all talking about Drink. I can't stand that dude. Let's see what you had to say right here. I want Drunkowicz to eat those words so bad. Corny ass. Yeah, so he's super corny. I can't stand him, and that's really why I don't like them. I actually kind of used to like Mizzou was a team that I wouldn't say that I liked, but I would cheer for them versus UGA. I mean, I still cheer for anyone versus UGA. But there was a team that I didn't absolutely hate until he came around. Now I can't stand him. Let's see what else people are talking about. T Malone says, hate to say it, but LSU last year had a whole new secondary and was horrible on defense. Their offense was high powered, and what saved them. I hope we ain't like that this year, but just too much is unproven. Yeah, so I do agree with you right there, Tristan. But the other thing that I'll say about LSU's defense is, they were taking their best player, and Bray and I was talking about this yesterday, and they're dropping him back in the pass coverage. That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you take somebody? And he's a player, y'all. Just for those of y'all that have kind of like watched and stuff, y'all understand how much of a nerd I am whenever it comes to this type of stuff. He's a player that the first time that I saw him on LSU's field, I don't think that he even made the play, but he flashed. Like, let's just say he's playing outside linebacker, and I think that he had rushed. The play went to the totally opposite side of the field, but he flashed. And I was like, who in the world is this? And I started to realize, like, oh, this dude is unbelievable. But whenever you have a talent like that and you're dropping him into coverage almost all the time, I mean, that's just coaching. We're not going to be doing that. James Pierce and our front, we're getting after that quarterback. But I feel what you're saying, though. That secondary is a really big piece. I don't know if we could go further back than what we did. I mean, last season wasn't that bad, but even in 22, I think that we took a step forward from 2022 and 2023. So I think that, that's probably about where our floor is with this team. I'm just hoping, y'all. I'm hoping and praying that we don't just lay a freaking egg with our safeties. But the cornerbacks are going to be lights out. I'm not even concerned about them, not even one bit. Let's see right here. Timmy G says, Drink is as cringy as the A&M Yell Squad, and that's saying something. Dude, I've seen so many funny, hilarious videos on Twitter, on IG, talking about Texas A&M. I didn't realize that they had so many like weird little traditions and stuff. But yeah, they're kind of a weird team. But they are a very, very good team for sure. TN Jr. says, facts, Timmy. Let's see what else we got. TN Jr. says, TV said he's not charging. Now I don't know what you're talking about right there, or maybe he meant changing. I don't know, but so if you're talking about Tony Vitello, yeah, okay, all right, here it is, right here, changing. My bad. All right, I see it. And then Thomas Mitchell says, "How good are their pitchers?" Okay, so we can actually pull that up for y'all right here. That's a really good question. They've got a lot of good pitchers, and we are going to pull that up for y'all. But yeah, I mean, there's several guys, and I'm kind of confused as to why some of these guys aren't, like starting for them. But yeah, I mean, some of these ERAs are incredible. Let me pull it up right here for y'all. Give me just a second. Where is that at? Actually, here it is right here. Okay. Give me just a second, y'all. I'm doing the producing and everything. Let me pull this back up for y'all. 1 minute. We'll have it up. But yeah, they've got some phenomenal pitching. Super low ERAs. It definitely it rivals ours. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna put it. We'll put it on this one right here. All right, so I hope that y'all can see this. I know that it's a little bit small. This is their batting. Okay, that's all their players. You can see they've got some guys that can most definitely go at the plate. Now for the pitching. What we've got right here are, let's just go to the ERAs because this will be a good indication. Look at this. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys with an ERA up under 3, right? So that's very impressive. But as you're just kind of going through there, they've got some that's down at the bottom with some really high ERAs. And if it wasn't for those players, I mean, the ERA for the entire team would probably be significantly lower. But this guy right here, Evan Oschenbeck, 1.54 ERA, and he has pitched 70 innings. So that's the guy that I want to see. How do we perform versus? I think that we can, I definitely feel like we can get it done versus him. But yes, that's a pretty good look at how the ERAs are for them. But as far as their starters, this is nothing that really wows you. I want to say that their best guys at like a 2.88, and I believe that he's going to be getting a start for them today. And then the other guys were like up over 5. So we'll see. Once we get past this game, y'all, they're kind of the same thing that we said about Florida State. Once we get past that first game, their, initial aces, I think that we're in a really, really good spot, especially just for the starting pitching, but their bullpen is deep, again, just like ours. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much going to be it, man. It's just going to be about what team comes out, plays with confidence, plays within themselves. The moment's not going to be too big. Can Stamos or will Stamos give us more than 1 inning? We know that he can. But is Tony V going to let him do that? He has not done that, I don't think, throughout this entire tournament. So he probably will not be doing that tonight. But that would be huge too. Maybe kind of save those arms some. You know what I mean? Save them for tomorrow whenever you could use everybody. Something else that I've been asking, will we start somebody different tomorrow, or is it going to be Snead? And now I love, or not Snead, but I love what we have on our day 2 pitching. But I just think that maybe we might need to switch it up. I don't know. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It just really all depends on how their bats look versus ours. Are they picking up on our stuff? Some of our guys, man, like, I'll say like Kirby, he's really good for like an inning or 2. But after that, they kind of start to pick up on what he's doing. Seen the same thing for like Causey, right? Once they kind of pick up on what he's doing, it usually takes them longer to pick it up with him. But once they pick it up, they kind of start to whack him. And I guess that could be said for anybody and everybody that's a pitcher. But I think that this lineup might be dangerous enough that, I mean, just have to kind of be cautious, right? But we'll see how things play out. I don't feel like we need to jump to change anything early on. Let's see how the game plays out. Let's see what the strike zone is. Do y'all know who the umpire is going to be? Because if it's that one guy that his strike zone was like a little box, you know what I'm saying? If it's him, that plays in the Texas A&M's favor in a very major way because they're so patient at the plate. Let's see what else we got right here, man. A whole bunch of funny comments, man. Y'all are hilarious with this stuff. Let's see. Where do I want to start with all these comments? Because I missed a whole bunch of them. All right, so let's come on down here to right here. Let's talk to my dog Tristan. He says that we already beat them once. I think that we can do it again. I agree, 1,000,000%. No questions asked on that. Timmy G, yeah, we beat them in the SEC tournament. Yeah, and then too, you know what? In that game, like I had talked about earlier, that was a different situation. I think that they're going to come out here to actually really try to win. That might have been one where they didn't really care if they won or lost. So you might not have really seen their best. But I don't think that I feel like we are the better team, period. Just from top to bottom, I feel like we are the much more complete team. Thomas Mitchell says, I'm still concerned about our offensive line. So that right there is going back to football. We can kind of shift gears real quick. We can kind of go back and forth. But with the offensive line, y'all, I mean, I'm not too concerned personally. I think that we are so loaded. We got Lance Hurd at left tackle. Left guard for me is probably going to be Sham Umarov. Center, we all know, is going to be Cooper Mays. And, at right guard, we've got Spraggs at right tackle. We've got John Campbell, who I think is more of a right tackle anyway. But with all the vets, right, from center all the way over to that right side, all of those players should be getting better. I mean, there's no reason to think that they won't be getting better. This is their send-off season to the NFL. So you would expect that they might kind of be going above and beyond with their training, with that little bit of attention to detail. And I think that just will solidify that entire offensive line as a whole. Now, the left guard position to me is probably going to be the biggest question mark, because is it going to be Jackson Lampley, who I do trust to play at that position? Or, is it going to be like an Andre Carrick? I don't trust him nearly as much. I would much rather see somebody like Jackson Lampley, or for sure Sham Umarov, who I think has the most upside at that position. But whenever you talk about at the left tackle, Lance Hurts coming in, y'all, and I've said this a million times, I'm going to say it again, feel like he might end up being our best offensive lineman this season. He's just different. The way that he can move bodies is unbelievable. And he's got very long arms. He's very strong at the point of contact. I love his technique and his fundamentals coming from LSU. I forget what their offensive line coach's name is, but he does a great job of coaching these guys up. Now, does he fit into our scheme? I think so. I think that the way that we block is offensive lineman friendly, and they're not going to be asked to do too much. So I feel great about the offensive line. And then on top of that, man, look, we got Nico Iamaleava playing at quarterback. He's a guy that can make things happen with his legs. So if the pressure comes up the middle, which is where we had some trouble at versus UGA back in 2022, then he can escape that, right? He can extend the plays, and he looks really good extending to the outside, to his right or to his left, throwing those passes, I mean, on a freaking rope. And we've seen it a million times. I'm not concerned. Listen, guys, I'm not concerned about the offense by any means. The offense is going to put up 40-something plus points, 45, maybe even 50 points a game. That's probably going to be the average whenever it's all said and done. We're going to put up points. That's not going to be a problem. My question is going to be, what happens on the back end of that secondary? That's the only question mark that I have. As long as we stay relatively healthy, y'all, we're in a great spot, I feel like, to win this whole doggone thing. Now let's get to a few more of these. Let's see what all we got. T. Malone says, didn't A&M, two of their best players get hurt? Okay, yeah. So the one guy, Montgomery, I know that he's hurt. I know they had another one. I think he had like a little hamstring pull. I don't know if he's still going to be playing or not. But we should be fine. Obviously that does favor us for sure. Thomas Mitchell says, is A&M's pitching better than Florida State's? Yes, from top to bottom, it most definitely is, like without question. I even think that their ace, I don't know if he's better than that Arnold kid, but I mean, his ERA is way better, so we will see, right? I don't think, y'all, that it absolutely matters to us, because we have so many guys that are veterans. That's something else, is that if you look at the amount of innings that have been played or have been pitched, any of that, we have so much more experience over Texas A&M that I feel even more confident just with that. Especially a lot of these guys played on that team back in 2022. That was supposed to win the whole doggone thing. So they know what it means to be locked in and to be 100% focused. So yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it. They can throw whoever they want to throw. I don't think that they can get it past us. Let's see what else we got right here. Let's see if we can find somebody who we haven't talked to just yet. Let's get to it right here. Blackout Jones. Okay, we have not heard a whole lot from you. What are y'all talking about right here? The scores. I think it was like 7-5. Yep. So the score versus Texas A&M the last time that we played was 7-4. Absolutely. Let's see what else Blackout Jones has to say. I'm definitely going to go check out David Sanders Jr. and Charles House this year at one of their games. Yeah, man. So if you're in North Carolina, and if you do get an opportunity to go, man, send us some of that game film, because we would love to see that, especially if you're just watching them. That would be awesome. That's something that maybe we could use on the channel. But I also feel really good about David Sanders. We haven't really talked a whole lot about him today, or have not talked about him at all. Feel great about him. I think that he might be a silent commit to our Volunteers. But what happens coming from Ohio State tomorrow? I think that he's probably going to set an announcement date. Hopefully, it's at some point, maybe early in July. Go ahead and get him off the board. One of my biggest question marks is with Josh Petty. I know that the insiders aren't talking a whole lot about him. That makes me feel like maybe they think he's trending a lot more to Florida State. But if we could get him, and if we could get Utu as well, oh my goodness, dude. Like, I mean, you want to talk about just a ridiculous offensive line because I've got Josh Petty as more of a guy that could play on the inside. I've got him as one of our guards, but we've already got Antoni Agumoro as well. I mean, man, looking in Bryce Jenkins playing defensive tackle. He's a player that I feel like could also play guard or tackle for us. So, do we want to take all, or would we take all those players? Could we take all those players? I would hope so. Like, let's get in as many good offensive line bodies as possible. But I'm starting to feel a little bit better now with Douglas Utu, just after watching his film some more. Feel a lot better, if we don't get Petty. But at the same time, I'm not going to turn Petty away if I'm on the coaching staff. So the offensive line, y'all, moving forward is going to be a strong point of this team. And we kind of talked about that earlier, being concerned about the line. Now we're talking about both of our fronts potentially being top 5 in the entire country. And that's why this team is going to be very dominant for years and years to come. We're clicking on all cylinders, y'all. Everything that we need with this football team, we are doing it for sure at a really, really high level. Let's see what else we got right here. I'm going to get to a few more of these. Let's see right here. So Thomas Mitchell says, Bull, we need to find you some promo music. LOL. Yeah, for sure. I would absolutely love to do that. So I used to use a whole lot of music in my videos before, and I might kind of go back to that. But yeah, man, that maybe just like to open this thing up. Let's get it started. If y'all have any songs that we could use, that we could that we could use to monetize and things like that on this channel, we will most definitely do it. We're all for it, and we appreciate all of y'all's support. Let's see what else we got right here. So Tristan is asking, are we home or away tonight? I don't know. If you do know, down in the comment section, please let us know. I think that we might be away. Don't quote me on that though. Let's see right here. Blackout Jones. North Mech is literally around the corner from me, and Providence Day is about 20 minutes. That's beautiful, man. So you're like right in the middle of both of those players. That's a really good area. So that must be the Charlotte area. I mean, there's a lot of talent right now coming up out of there. And also, too, something that I've had forgot to mention with the safeties is that we are in a really good spot for a 5-star safety, the number 1 safety in the country in 2026, just early on. Now, he did play at Parkview with Mike Matthews last season. Now I believe he is at another school. Let me see if I can find that for y'all here real quick, because I don't remember what school he went to. I think that he might be out there with the quarterback, Juju. I think he's out there playing with Juju Lewis. So anyway, he's a really good one. And I'm not even going to be able to find it in time right now for y'all, but I will probably bring that to y'all here in just a second. I might put that in the comments after this video is done, but he's another one. So if we can kind of close strong with him, if we close strong with a guy like Shady Hayworth, then all of a sudden we're starting to look pretty good. And I think that we did a good job in the 2023 class of going out and getting some good safeties, but they're not ready to help us out this season. I just want to know, what are we going to do this year if Colby Thomas is not the guy? So sorry to go off on that tangent. Y'all know how I do. I'll be all over the place. But let's see. What else do we have? Anything else that we need to get to? All right, so we've got Flying Blind says, I think Petty is going to FSU. How many 5 stars can we pull for this class? Looking for top 5. Yeah, I think he might be as well. I think that we're in a really good spot. So if you take away Josh Petty, then I think that we're in a pretty good spot to be able to land 3. Whenever you talk about a guy like Isaiah Gibson, I still think that we're in a really good spot with him as well, because NIL means a lot to him, is what it sounds like. So we're talking about already GMAC. We're talking about David Sanders. Isaiah Gibson would probably be that 3rd. And outside of that, what we would probably be looking for if we need some more 5 stars is some of the players that are kind of on the cusp of being a 5-star. Maybe they will get an upgrade in their rankings, and that could help us out a lot. Like, I think that Douglas Utu would be one that could do it. I think that Shady Hayworth is underrated for sure. Why he's only a 4-star, I would never understand that. I also think that Travis Smith, who is just a 4-star, but I think that in our system, he's going to play like a 5-star. He's exactly what we need. Already 6'3", 200 pounds, and that is a verified height and weight. I got to see him in person. He's very, very, very smooth. He's very strong. And I mean, everything he does just looks really, really effortless. So I think that we're trending for him as well. I mean, we're going to have a really good class, y'all. Top 5, I think, again, like I've said before, is almost a given. As long as things just don't completely fall off of the rails, we should be in a really good spot. And for those of y'all that didn't hear this earlier, we're in a good spot right now for some of the guys that are already up on campus. But we'll see what the insiders have to say about that tomorrow coming up out of these visits. We will be having a video on that tomorrow for sure. But I think that's going to be it for this one, y'all. I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time, but I did just want to give you a little something just to kind of pass the time by before we get ready for this big time ball game tonight at 7:30 on ESPN. Super Drag USA 1 says, "What it do, Bull? Go Big Orange. What it do, baby? We in here." I'm very excited, y'all. I cannot wait. And we'll probably be going live after the big time ball game tonight. We want to hear y'all's thoughts. We might kind of be updating y'all as well throughout the game because we had some good fortune whenever I did that on the last one. So I don't want to switch nothing up, right? Got to keep this thing going. But man, look, again, appreciate y'all so much. Please, as always, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. Keep a very close eye out on the channel because we do want to hear from y'all. Let me see what my dog right here, T and Junior, got to say. Much love, y'all. Go Big Orange. Break this damn curse and bring it home to Rocky Top. Absolutely. And we will be the first team since 1999 and Miami to win this doggone thing as the 1 seed. We're going to claim it. Go Big Orange. We'll see y'all in just a minute. Thanks. Peace.